We begin tonight with retired four-star General Philip Breedlove, former Supreme Allied Commander of NATO. General, good to see you as always, sir. Thank you. I wasn't trained to believe in coincidences. I don't think you were either. American tanker carrying jet fuel smashed into by Russian captain. Coincidence or not?
Absolutely not a coincidence. You know, we're beginning to get now some details out of this, and it appears that this tanker didn't veer off collision course at all as it approached the American fuel tanker. And there was plenty of time to veer off, and the equipment on board both ships were set to avoid this. Of course, the ship carrying the American fuel was anchored and not moving. But the Russian ship had all of the instruments needed to avoid this crash, and so I think they're going to have to bring this to task and hold those responsible.
What message was Vladimir Putin trying to send by this happening?
Well, Leland, to say that he was absolutely sending a message, I'm not sure that's quite correct. But here's what we do know. In the last several years now, Mr. Putin has been emboldened in the North Seas and in these areas where you've seen Russian and Chinese collusion to cut fiber cables, and now you see this collision. We've seen near misses. This is all a part of that gray zone war below the lines, or what NATO likes to call hybrid war. Mr. Putin is getting away with these actions. And until he's held accountable, why would he stop? They are working so far.
What does accountability look like?
He is showing that he's driving it. I'm sorry, Leland?
What does accountability look like?
Well, first of all, let's don't mess around about who was responsible, how it happened, and how it shouldn't have happened, and then drag that forward. Have our most senior leaders say, this happened by Russian actions, and they have to answer for it. But it'll probably get lost in a, well, we're not sure, we don't know how this worked out. The bottom line is, it's a little bit more about policy. That what happened is very, very clear. Now, is the policy to hold Russia accountable or not?
Well, and right, policy comes from the president, and whether Donald Trump continues to think that he needs to hold back in order to get some kind of deal out of Vladimir Putin. Our Robert Sherman was in the Oval Office today, I think asked the most prescient question possible when it comes to a Ukrainian ceasefire. Not only did I think that, the rest of the networks did, because they all picked it up. Here it is.
Mr. President, some of our allies have said that they're worried that they could be the next to be attacked by Russia. You've spoken directly with the Russian president. Do you think those fears are justified?
No, I don't. I think when this gets done, it's done. They're going to all want to go home and rest. I don't see it happening. Nope, I don't see that happening.
Assessment?
Well, in 2008, Russia amassed its army, marched across an internationally recognized border, and invaded Georgia. And because we didn't want to accelerate the problem, we all said, okay, it's all good, it won't happen again. Then in 2014, Russia amassed its army, marched across an internationally recognized border, and invaded Crimea. And everybody thought, okay, they wanted Crimea, this is the end of it. Shortly thereafter, they amassed their army, marched across an internationally recognized border, and invaded the Donbass. After the Donbass, we reached 2 peace deals in Minsk. Russia broke both of those peace deals in Minsk. So I would just tell you that the track record of Russia is very, very clear.
Yeah, Vladimir Putin has embarrassed, I think, President Bush, as you pointed out, President Obama, certainly President Biden. You can argue the point about President Trump, whether or not he did in his first term, but certainly now he's trying to. The cutting off oil sales to Europe, to me, is an underreported story, just like the tanker is. Because if you can cut off Putin's ability to sell oil and gas, not only to Europe, but to China and to India, that drastically changes things in a matter of weeks. Are we not giving Donald Trump enough credit for that?
Well, I will say it right now. I appreciate what the president is doing, because the cumulative effects of all these sanctions that have been on for a while is causing disruptions to Mr. Putin's economy and his wartime ability to produce. So let's give him credit for that. But then I would offer this. This war has really been going for 11 years, Leland. It started back in the winter of 13-14. It never stopped in the middle where people like to talk about it stopped. There were still Russians killing Ukrainians and Ukrainians killing Russians at a much less rate on the line of contact. But now we're into another part of the war, and I would offer to you that it would be very hard for our very best historians to give one example where a monetary tool, where a sanction changed any Russian behavior on the battlefield. I would offer to you, I don't know of a single instance where any sanctions have changed Mr. Putin's battlefield actions. And that's what we're here about, to stop the killing. You've heard the president say it.
Okay. Last question. ... That seems to be saying that the United States is going to have to do things that are not monetary, that they have to escalate in a military, I'll use a term that I've heard before from folks in uniform, kinetic way, in order to get Putin to back down. Is that what you're saying?
Well, not exactly, but partially. I'm a dumb fighter pilot. I teach at a very good school, and I use this simple expression of nation's power, D-I-M-E, the dime. Diplomatic, information and intelligence, military and economic. When we fight radical Islam, we almost always use all M, all military. When we fight Russia, we almost always use economic terms, because we are deterred. Our leadership has been deterred for over a decade from using military tools against Mr. Putin. And so there is the D, there is the I, there is also the M and the E, and I would say we need to use all the tools available to us to handle this problem. Mr. Putin, I can give you examples of him using all the D, I, M, and E against us. So why are we not using it against him? I think that's the way I would approach your question.
Well, an important question. Never the questions that get us in trouble, it's the answers, is what Tom Brokaw said. So we'll go there. General, it's always good to see you, sir. Thank you.
Great to see you.
Yes. Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.